Welcome to Elliott's PT podcast. I'm here to help you find your balance and live your best life guilt-free. I don't believe there is a one-size-fits-all approach for health and fitness. We're all different and we need to find out what works for us. I'm passionate about helping people make realistic, long-term lifestyle changes that they will stick to and they will take with them forever. I don't believe in crazy diets or short-term fixes. We all need to live and find a perfect balance in diet and exercise that suits our individual needs. I want to help you find your exercise mojo, feel great and achieve wonderful things. Here is Elliott's PT podcast by Renae Elliott. Hello, and welcome back to Elliott's PT podcast. So today I wanted to talk about some things you should consider when you are either starting a new program, where you're starting a new fitness program or a new nutrition program, some things that I really want you to consider if you want to be successful. And I feel that my little 7 tips that I have for you are the things that are going to, if you consider these things and you really think about it before you start or commit to anything, these things are going to really help you to really get the success you're looking for. Now, my first tip is before you start anything, I want you to really consider and think about is what you're doing realistic and is it something that you can stick to long term? Now, we've all heard of crazy diets that are out there or crazy fitness regimes, really pushing yourself to the extreme or any of those things. And I want you to consider, can you stick to it forever? So I would have people coming to me and they would say, well, I'm going to, if we were doing like maybe a challenge or something like that, they would come and they'd say to me, I'm going to cut out alcohol for 8 weeks and I'm going to not eat any chocolate for that whole time too. And all of that's fine. But what I ask you to consider is that something that you are going to stick to forever? Because if you're not going to stick to it forever, it's better to lose weight and get in the shape that you want by doing the things including the things that you enjoy and you'll be more likely to stick to it than restricting yourself and sticking to things that you don't like. So I really need you, if the same thing, if you put yourself under the pressure of saying you need to work out every day, you need to work out for an hour, again, you might be able to do that for a short term, but can you do that for long term? Because the other thing is that when we do things that are for us long term, that's how the results will stay. Too many people yo-yo back and forth because they do things that are only lasting them a short time. And when they only last them a short time, that they then don't stick to it and they go back to their old ways and they put all the weight that they'd lost back on, or they lose all the strength and all that they had because that they can't keep it up. So we really, whenever you're starting out anything new, I want you to consider, is it something that you can stick to it long term? If it's something you can stick to it long term, then give it the green thumbs up and you're ready to go ahead. The second thing I want you to consider if you're starting a new program, if you're any of those things, I want you to consider what do you really want to get out of this? And I think it's really important to be clear from the start what you want to get out of it. So, and why are you doing this? So I had some people the other day and they were talking and they were taking this new drink that they'd heard of to take. And they said they were doing it for health, but I knew deep down why they were doing it. Well, they were trying to take this drink because they thought this drink would help them lose weight faster. But I really think, and it did kind of annoy me because I thought, he's not learned anything that we've been through. But, it is really important to understand why you're doing something. And are you doing it because you want a quick fix and do you believe it's going to, and, then consider what is it really going to give you that quick fix? Drinking this glass of water with whatever things in the water, it may have a health benefit, but it's not actually going to give them the quick fix that they're looking for. And why are you doing something? So have you joined a new gym because your friend joined it, but you actually hate HIIT classes and you've joined a gym that only does HIIT classes, but your friend's doing it, so you feel like you should do it with her, or if you joined, what are the reasons that you're doing something? and what do you want to get out of it? So we want to be clear on that, because when you if you've joined some form of program that lasts for weeks or something, you want to consider what you want to get out of it. So then that's clear from the start. And is that really going to give you what you're looking to get? So if you want to increase your flexibility, doing a boot camp class is not going to improve on that. If you want to improve on your core strength, you would need to look at doing something that works with that. So really consider what do you want to get out of this, and understand that when you're starting something. When we also understand why we're doing something, so what is that internal motivator, you are then going to be more likely to stick to it when it gets hard. So my why is that I want to age well. So I want to age well, and I want to make sure that I'm doing all the things that I can, so then I can age as well as possible. And that's my why. So that is my motivator. That is my motivator to get up in the morning when I can't be bothered. That is my motivator to make sure I fit in exercise, even though I would prefer to do something else. And yes, I do have those moments where I would prefer to do something else. I am human. But when I remind myself of that why, it gets me off the couch. So I want you to really consider that why, and keep reminding yourself of that, and making sure that whatever activity or whatever thing you've chosen to do aligns with that. Because if they're out of whack and they're not aligning, you're either not going to be able to stick to it, you're going to give up, and then you're running the risk then of them feeling worse about yourself. And it's not that it's your fault, it's just that you actually weren't. If I joined, I'm not interested in bodybuilding. It is not something that interests me. So if I joined a program that the whole focus was on bodybuilding, I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want to do the work. I wouldn't want to follow it through, because it's not important enough to me. I'm not saying it's not important. It's just not important to me. So I'm not going to stick to it. But if I chose something that's, going to work on my mobility and really focus on my stretching, well, that's actually really important to me. So I'm more likely to stick to that, because that is aligning with my why and what I really want to get out of life. Now, if you don't understand your why, I have an episode, quite a few episodes back, that talks about that. So flick back and look at that. The next thing I want you to consider when you're starting something new is, how can you make it fit within your lifestyle? To find something that consistency is the key to long-term results. Consistency is the key to building strength and, having the long-lasting energy and the look that we all want. Consistency is the key to everything. So I want you to ask yourself first, how can I make it work for my lifestyle? So again, this kind of ties in with my first tip too, but I really need you to ask yourself, how can it work? For me, it has to fit around my kids. It has to fit around them. So if I was joining something, if I was starting a new exercise regime and it asked me to exercise 2 hours at night or an hour at night, that does not work for me, and it does not work with my kids. That's my life. So I wouldn't be able to stick to that. So you need to make sure that it fits in with your lifestyle. The same thing is if I joined a new program and it asked me to eat only red meat or eat no salad or no carbohydrates or any of those things, maybe something like that. Again, that's not going to really fit in with my lifestyle. I love going out with my kids. I love going and going to the beach and getting hot chicks with them and doing those things. So whatever I'm doing, it has to work in with that, because that's really important to me, and that's important to me, and that's what I like in my lifestyle. So again, if something is going to fit within your lifestyle, you're more likely going to be able to stick to it. So it has to work around my family, because they're my number one. When you say, that you're not going to do something, or we're going to restrict something, if it's not something that again, the same with no one. If it's not something that you can see yourself doing long term, say no to it, because because you're not likely going to stick to it, or you may stick to it, and then when it ends, you'll go back to the old ways, and then you'll feel worse about yourself, and whatever results you've got, you'll probably lose them. And as most people I've seen before, they lose weight and they put it all back on. So really, really consider, how can you make this work in your lifestyle, and make it work for the things that you want in your lifestyle. Some people really love eating out. Some people, really like going on holidays. Some people really like drinking. All of those things, whatever you're at, it has to work for you. My fourth tip is I want you to consider what is most important to you. So again, like I was talking about before, if I joined a program that was about bodybuilding, and maybe I joined it because I'd heard people say it was good, or or if it gave a certain type of exercise style, if it's not important to me, I'm not going to stick to it. So it has to be something that, if it's important to me, you'll make it work. And time is a thing that lots of people say that they don't have the time for this, or they don't have the time for that, but really time is just a perception. And we all have the same amount of time, and if it's important to you, you'll make it work, and you'll make it fit into your time. And that's what I want you to consider. Exercise saves your life, and I don't know why there's people who don't see the importance of exercise, or they don't see it as a priority, because exercise will change your life. It is better than any drug that you can get for anxiety or mental health problems, and if you were someone that suffers from anything like that, don't give up your medication, but incorporate exercise to help with that stuff. Exercise, is going to, if you understand your body and you keep your muscles strong, it's going to be able to stop you from falling when you get older. It is going to give you that longer life, so then you don't have to be wheelchair bound, so you can be active and still do things. Exercise is going to give you that quality of life. So understand what is important to you. For me, as I said, it is important to me I want to lead I want to be able to do as much as I can do till as old as I can. So, I would love to be, still exercising and running and doing things when I'm 80, 90 years old. And I know I'm going to, because I'm already working on it now. And that's going to give me a really good quality of life. And that's important to me. So that's important to me, which is why I am motivated to get up every day and make sure I do some form of exercise. Even when I'm tired, even when I can't be bothered, I will still make it a priority to do that. And that's why. So if whatever the new program that you're joining, or the thing you're considering, I want you to understand what is most important to you. And when we understand what's most important to you, what is your why in life, why are you doing this, you are going to be more likely to understand that this is a non-negotiable. Exercise for me is a non-negotiable. Eating well is a non-negotiable. I'm always still going to have some junk food. I'm still going to go out. I'm going to have have lunches out. We don't really get takeaway actually, but we are going. I'm still going to go out for meals with that, because all of that stuff incorporates with my lifestyle. But exercise and eating well is really, really important to me. So I'm going to make it work. And anything is possible for everybody. You just need to understand, if it's important enough to you, it will happen. I get lots of reasons why people can't do things. A lot of it's just excuses, because really anything is possible. It is all, my group classes, I have classes in person. I have classes on an app that you can follow. And I have Zoom classes, and I can also send you videos on what to do. There's so many options here. I have morning classes, mid-morning classes, evening sessions, weekend sessions. It is all possible, but it's up to you to decide whether it's important enough for you to make it work in your lifestyle. And that's your choice. My fifth tip is when you are starting something new, is I want you to consider, what have you done previously? So what did you do in the past? What's something that did work for you in the past, or maybe what's something that didn't work for you? Because if we are repeating the same cycle of the things that maybe didn't work, well, then where is that going to get you? If you're doing, what's the quote of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And, so whatever you've done previously, if you are going about this new regime in the same way, what result do you think that's going to get you? So if everything was simple, if it was easy, we would already all be there. So yes, it is going to be a little bit difficult in starting a new regime. It is not going to be easy. It's just getting used to it, but the benefits so outweigh it. But whatever you've done previously, whatever you think may be because you already know it, it might feel easier, all of those things, you really need to consider it. What the things that you've done previously that didn't work, don't repeat it again. Okay, so it's great. I'm a real list writer and I love writing lists down. So write down some of the things that maybe didn't work for you, and and make sure that you're not repeating the same cycle. Or if it's, if there's a reason that didn't work, think about why it didn't. Why did it not work? Was it maybe because it was too unrealistic, or was it maybe because you didn't really understand what was important to you and what was your why in life? What were the things that you've done previously? And we can't just keep repeating that cycle. We want to do something different. And, there may be things that really did work for you. But again, I want you to consider, if I'm going to use weight loss as a goal, because that is kind of the easiest things, but if you consider, if you did a diet. So let's say you did, I had somebody that did the 800 calorie diet, and they were starting a program with me, and they kept saying, well, but I've done the 800 calorie and I know that works for me. But the thing is, you put weight back on. So it didn't work for you because you couldn't stick to it because it was unrealistic. It didn't work for you. So it may have given you an initial result, but it's not a long-term result. It's not a long-term result. So it's not going to work for you long-term. So, and it didn't work because you put the weight back on. So don't do it again. Don't keep going back to old things that you did previously thinking that it would work. You have to come in with a different approach, a different headset. You have to look at why did it not work for you before and how can you alter that and adapt that to suit. So whatever you did previously, I want you to consider, did it work, did it not work, and how can you go about that? I've got 2 more tips for you. My 6th tip is when you're starting out something new, and how to consider it, is look at how you can gauge and monitor your progress. So many people miss their step and they think that they're not getting the results that they should be getting. They have this expectation that they need to get the result instantly, and they don't realize that their progress is happening. And when this happens, they feel like they're not getting there, and then they give up. When actually they were there, they just were looking at the wrong thing, or they were only focusing on one thing to get result, like maybe the scale. And there are so many other factors that contribute to that number on the scale, and the scale is just one tool out of many that you can use. So I really want you to look at how can you gauge and monitor your progress. So there's lots of more ways than just the weight. So look at, is it via fitness tests? Is it via looking at your measurements? Is it via how your clothes fit? Photos? Is it looking at how, like, your distance? So I monitored my progress after I had babies. I couldn't wait to get back to running. Now I knew how fast I could run per K. And so the day that I got to that speed, I was like cheering. And that's how I knew I could monitor my progress, by getting back to that speed. So look at a way and make sure that it's something that you can gauge and monitor, so you know that you are progressing and you can see that it's happening, and regularly check in with it. Anything that I do, I ask people to check in more than once a week, because you need to be checking in and reminding yourself that you are doing this. Because again, whenever you start something new, we feel initially excited, motivated at the start, but then there gets a period where that motivation and that starts to go away, and we want to keep that motivation and that high. So look at how you can gauge and monitor your progress. Okay, finally, my last tip is, before you're starting a new regime, I want you to make sure that you really understand you really understand that you know the facts of what you're actually doing and why you're doing it. So if you are doing a program or you've started something new, so say it's understanding how it works, and again, when we have that better understanding, you're more likely to stick to it. I have someone that has just newly started training with me, and they have a stomach separation, they have knee pain, they have all this, and I'm constantly reminding them of why I'm doing this. I'm like, we need to do these things first in order for us to get here. I need to build your strength up in this area, this area, this area, before we can move to the next level. Now, I understand that, and I make that clear to my clients so that they understand that too. So then they don't feel like it's not working, because if you understand all the facts of what you're doing and the things that need to happen in the background, you are then making sure that you're going to get the result that you want. So make sure that you really truly understand the depth of the program and what it is that you're trying to get out of it, and how it works. Because so many times we do things with and we're not really understanding it, and you either maybe give up because you don't think it's working, and if you're starting something new and you look at these other little steps that we've got, maybe when you truly understand the program, it actually doesn't align with what your values are. My dad actually was just telling me yesterday that somebody had asked him. My dad has back knee, ankle. My dad has had an ankle fused, his knee replaced, his hip replaced. So he's had these things done, and he still has pain. And this person had contacted him on pain management, and they were offering him to join their program or something. But again, there was no explanation as to what was actually in the program, or for him to understand what was involved. So it is really important to understand all the facts. And knowledge is power. And when you understand all of these things, you know that you're going in the right direction. You know that this is why you're doing this, and this makes sense, and this step comes after this step, which comes after this step. So when you really understand the facts, and I think about it when I had my first baby. I had Cooper, and they would go through a phase, and you'd be like, oh my God, when does this phase end? And then when I had Charlie, I understood the phases. So I knew that it wouldn't be forever, and it made it easier for me to cope with. The same as when people just start exercising, and you might feel that pain of that you can't sit down on the toilet or any of those other things. But, that doesn't last forever, and you know that goes away. So, it's really having that understanding, because that will really help you be able to stick to it and be more consistent and get you the results that you're looking for. So that is my 7 tips for today. So I will quickly recap over them. So my 7 tips are, number 1, my 7 tips for if you're starting a new program or regime, what the things you should consider before starting it is it realistic, and is it something that you can stick to long term? Number 2, what do you want to get out of this? And what do you want to get out of this, and why are you doing this program? Number 3, how can I make this work in my lifestyle? So it has to work for your lifestyle. So how can you make it work for your lifestyle? Number 4, what is important to me? Why is it important to you, and what is important? What is the thing that is most important to you, and is this aligning with that? Number 5 is, what have you done previously that did or didn't work? So if you're doing things if you're repeating the same cycle over again, or if you're going in with that same headset, we need to change it. Number 6 is, how can you gauge and monitor your progress and make sure that you are monitoring your progress in some form so that you can see a result. Number 7 is, do you really understand or know the facts of what you're doing? So you want to understand the reason that you're doing things, maybe the method, all of those things, so then you know what you're doing is right, and so then you're not going to give up. So that's my 7 tips. I hope that is helpful, and I love writing things down. I'm a pen and paper girl. When I write things down, I can see them on the pen and paper. I always feel so much better. And so if you are starting something new, consider those things. And then you're really going to be setting yourself up for success, and you're going to be more likely to stick to it and get the results that you're looking for. All right, I'm going to speak to you soon. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Elliott's PT podcast. I hope you have been able to find this information of use to you. If you know someone who might enjoy this podcast, please share it with them and ensure that you subscribe so you can be the first to know when new podcasts are released. If you have the time to leave a 5-star review, that would be amazing and it would be greatly appreciated. If you do so, please screenshot and share onto any of our socials and tag us. Then email the screenshot to hello@elliotspt.com and we will send you a free gift to your inbox. Thanks so much. Have an amazing day. Speak soon.